Hey y'all, from Spindle Mountain Mercantile, I am Heather. Mama's here too today. Welcome to our YouTube channel. I was checking out my stats for this channel, and according to YouTube, most of our viewers are somewhere between my age and Mama's age. That means most of you know Jenny's number, and you are my people. So while I start painting this project with my favorite color, Apothecary from Debbie's DIY, I think y'all should head over to the comments and write down Jenny's number if you know it, before I do. With Debbie's paint, you can use a mister and add water to your paint so it will have fewer brush strokes and it will look more perfect. But perfection is not my forte, so I like brush strokes. IOD's spring 2026 release included this fantastic book called Madeline, and it is quickly becoming my favorite. I'm using 3 separate pictures from this book, and 2 of them I'm going to combine to make them look like one going all the way across the top of this charger. To do something like this, you really need to start in the middle where the 2 pieces meet, and I wasn't thinking right. I went all the way to the right side and started from there. I left it in because I want you to see how I did it. I did the flat side, and then I worked my way down the ridge and then did the flat side inside of that ridge. That works really good. I just should have started in the middle because then when it kind of gets shorter as it goes down the ridge, it will still meet up in the middle. I did the second one right, though, and I was able to match it up, and it wasn't off center, so it was a good thing. I used a larger bouquet and put it right in the middle of the rest of the charger. Don't forget to burnish. And now for the fun part. I'm using this Dollar Tree gold paint marker for the lettering. Now, I don't recommend this marker. It's old, so maybe it was a little bit better quality, but I would look around and find something with good reviews, or go to Hobby Lobby or your favorite craft store and ask them what to use. I did the lettering of the numbers first. It worked for them, but when I got down to the name, it was first of all running out of ink, so that didn't help. I had to keep stopping and depressing the felt marker tip. It turned out good, but you'll see little dots in the finish, and I think that would not have happened if I had a new marker that was maybe a better quality. I don't care though. I still love this. You can see with the lettering, I started right in the middle and I just worked my way over from each side and got the entire number right in the center of the top of that charger. At the bottom, I added a heart and a name, and you know whose name it is. At this point, you may be thinking, wow, Heather must have been an excellent student because she has really good handwriting. Well, if you're thinking that, you would be wrong. No, in the 80s, I spent most of my time in school writing my name next to the boy of the month's name. If you don't have that kind of practice, or maybe you're not confident in your own handwriting, you could use a stencil to do this, or you could use stamps. IOD has a lot of fabulous stamps you could use for a project like this. I got a towel wet and wrung it out really good and used it instead of a wet wipe to wet distress this charger. I especially made sure to go over all the little half beads all the way around the charger, and then I went just inside the rim and made like a circular motion and did some more, and I did little bits and pieces here and there right in the center of the charger. Of course, YouTube isn't going to let me use Tommy Two-Tone for you to listen to while you watch the pictures in this video, but they did let me use it for a short. In the description, I will try to remember to leave a link for that. For 2 reasons, I sprayed this entire piece with clear gloss sealer. First, I wanted the gold lettering to stay shiny. And second, I thought it would be the best choice for where we've decided to hang this, which is our bathroom wall. We think that's appropriate, don't you? Project number 2. Mama had taken another book home with her. It's called something like Sunwin, but I call it St. Owen. And she took one of the pictures of an estate out of that and put it on this green bottle. And it was really cute, but it was kind of stark. I thought it needed something to blend the bottle with the estate. And plus, I'm working on another project later in this same video that is that same theme. So I thought it would work good here. I cut out 3 different pictures from the same page in Madeline that has daisies that are intertwined with a ribbon, and Mom is putting them together so they look like one long continuous picture.
Heather,
Yes, ma'am.
I always like to admit when I'm wrong.
Uh-oh.
You told me that I should lift this up as I go, and I said, I can't do that. But you know what?
What?
When you miss a place, if you lift it up like that, then you find it easier than you putting it back down on the thing. So you win.
Wow.
Maybe.
Your way works too. We have a viewer who said your mom is right. That's the way she does it. And I've seen other people do it that way too, but you're right, I'm right. I won't argue. Why
I just have a hard time picking it up, and this is...
There you go. You got it. Look at you. You're like the transfer beast now. You're crazy good at this, Mama.
I know I like to do it. Look at that.
Isn't
Look
that
at
beautiful? That. Okay, you look hesitant.
The buildings are so gray, the colors, I don't think add anything to it. But I'm probably wrong.
We'll see how fast it sells.
I'm using Debbie's DIY Big Top to seal this. I'm trying to be very careful because the matte finish on the bottle, I don't want to make it shiny. And I don't want to miss any of this. So there you go. Doesn't hurt to go a little bit out of the line because that actually seals the edges. Mama
asked me to tie a little pink velvet bow around the top, and when I did, I messed up her so carefully painted seal. We'll probably just spray the whole thing now with clear, but even though I schmutzed it up a little, I still think this vase is lovely. Don't you? Project number 3.
Don't ever go to Hobby Lobby when it's regular price because next week it's going to be 30% off or 40
or 50
or even 80 when it's the end of the season.
That's right. So you probably got this for 40% off, so it was probably $6.
Well, I'm thinking I want to put that around the top.
That's pretty.
You need to trim that so it'll fit up there better.
Okay.
And then put the bird.
That is pretty. I'll cut those bottom ones off for you.
Yeah. I'm going by the grid lines. I want to keep that right at the top. And over here, we're going to have to make some adjustment because it's curved. What's the middle right there?
I think so. Looks middle-ish to me.
Need the scissors. Instead of messing this up, I'm going to trim this off and we'll have that for something good later.
All right.
Put that back on it.
Mama, I'm going to show him your shirt. Can you let him see your shirt? When we buried Agatha, we shared with our viewers. So why don't you tell him why you're wearing a Chihuahua shirt now?
We only had Agatha about 6 months, less than 6 months. She had a cancer that was just forming when we got her, and it finally did her in. In that same period of time, we were on a country road near Belton, and Janice was driving, and she said, "What's that in the road ahead?" And as we got closer, we could see it was a dog. She said, "Well, I'm going to stop and see if I can catch it," because it was a country. She stopped, opened the door, and here's the dog said, "I'm ready to leave." So no collar, no identification of any type. So we took it home. We took her to the vet. She didn't have a chip, so and no rabies record. So Janice had a rabies shot and got her a collar. Put the rabies shot on it, and Heather put on Facebook found puppy because it was obvious this was somebody's pet.
Puppy, 20 years old.
Well, we didn't know that. She looked like a puppy. It had been over a week, and somebody called and said, "That's not my dog, but I know who it belongs to." So we found out who the owners were. We called them, and the woman was very anxious to get her baby back, and we found out her Janice had named her Rosie because she loved to lay on the bed while Janice prayed the rosary. And but we found out when the people came to pick her up, her real name was Gertrude. Janice said, I don't want another dog. But Heather, in her wiseness, had contacted a friend of hers who was a foster. She runs a rescue. But we ended up with a cutest little chihuahua with so much energy named Sophia. She had a chip, but for some reason her owner didn't want to get her back, which is crazy. So when the time period had passed, she was our dog. And she loves us and we love her.
What do you mean she's your dog? I think you are her people. You
Well,
forget who's the boss.
yeah, she is the boss. But she's just cute as she can be. We love her.
Did you ever think you'd have a Chihuahua?
Never did. We put the ribbon on there because it was centered. Now this is going to be off center because I think it's better if the tail fits in there. Cut one flower off the bottom.
When she was done applying the transfers, Mama sealed just the transfers with Debbie's Big Top, and she said she's going to sell this. She remembered she bought it for 80% off, so I think she can make a nice little return on it. Ain't it cute? Project number 4. Remember in project number 2 with Mama's bottle she turned into a vase, I said I was inspired with another project? Well, this is the one. And right now I am painting this wine box with garden sage from Debbie's DIY Cottage Colors. And I promise you, this is garden sage. It looks like juniper though when I'm putting it on. I literally went into my photo file when I was editing this, and I took out garden sage and I put in a picture of the can of juniper because I thought I put the wrong color. But later on, and looking at my stash on top of my cabinet where I take the pictures, you can see clearly it is garden sage. So my lighting changes dramatically. I'm a morning and a night person and an afternoon person. You know what? It looks different in different lighting. I reckon the moral here is make sure that you get the colors you want when you order from Mercantile.com because the colors might be different on screen. So we're using St. Owen again. You see that lady right there? As soon as I saw her, I immediately thought of Persephone, the mold. More specifically, I thought of the vase I made with Persephone, the mold. I was inspired to make this by Debbie Beard from Debbie's DIY. She did one on like a regular jar, and it was fantastic. I adorned her hair and shoulders with flowers from the Felicity mold. And of course, I painted the whole thing with crinoline because it's what I do. In the description, I will leave a link to that tutorial. I don't think the same muse was used for this picture as was used for the Persephone mold, but they are very similar. I cut out flowers from the same book, hoping to use them because they have these little, it kind of looks like pieces of wheat that hang down in different areas. And I thought that would look really cute, like maybe for her bangs or, just maybe hair pieces that were hanging down in different areas over her face. I took the backing off to get a really good look at how the flowers would look over her. And I'm telling you, don't do this if you're afraid you're going to get your transfer stuck to the front of the other transfer. It happens to me quite a bit. Not because I do this, but mostly because when I put them in storage, they come apart. So my sweet husband has become very adept at taping together my leftover pieces of transfer with their original backing. But I digress. For the purpose of this video, I'm calling this lady Persephone. I did not like how the flowers looked with Persephone, but I knew that I wanted Persephone right in the center of this wine box, so that's where she went. After I burnished her, I held some more florals up and I decided to use some from All of the Same Page of Madeline. This book, y'all, I told you it's becoming my favorite. Oh my goodness, there's so many different looks, even though it's all flowers and birds. There's blues and reds and pinks and greens and purples and browns. It's just amazing. It is such a beautiful book. I decided to use this floral piece with the bird that is maybe what you would put on the corner of a page or something. And I put it on, and I don't have film of that because, well, because me. And then this piece, I do have film putting this on. I cut that part off right there where I'm circling it. So I put this little bow, I tried it all different ways, and I decided it had to cover up her ear. You can still see her ear through the bow. I kind of wanted her ear to show, but it just looked best this way because the flowers that hang down kind of flow with her neckline and don't mess all that up. I guess I thought it looked a little elegant that way. I added 4 more pieces on each of the corners. 2 of them were corner pieces. The other ones, they kind of look like parentheses, and I thought they looked good up at the top. This is something you need to try if you are afraid of transfers or if you're new and you don't feel like you have a lot of self-confidence. Doing transfers over the edge is super easy because that carrier sheet wants to stay flat. So once you get the transfer onto your surface, that carrier sheet just pops up and it stays flat automatically. So instead of being like scared to try it, you can be like, hey, look what I just did. How cool am I? When I put Persephone in the center of the box, I did not even think about her hair, the flowers cascading down one side of her would make her off center. So now I have this big spot on the right hand side. I want to make it clear I would have done it the same way now. But had I thought about it before, I wouldn't have. I would have put her off center. So once her hair was there, the flowers cascading down her neck, she would be in the middle. To fix it, I had to add a little hummingbird and a butterfly. And I look out my window all the time and watch birds chasing each other. And sometimes a butterfly or a moth will get in the mix. So how this turned out really did warm my heart, and I would do it intentionally. So I'm kind of glad I didn't think about her being off center when I put her in the center. I'm going to add some Pentart Classic Crackle varnish. I put this on fairly thick. This is the first part. And I've only used this once before. And one of y'all told me that if I used it thicker, it would make the crackle bigger. And it sure enough did. So thank you. I can't remember who told me that, but I really appreciate it. I'm not sure how important it is to make all your brush strokes go the same direction, but I chose to do so and it turned out. So I guess I recommend that. Maybe I'll try it other ways and see what happens. Maybe it'll make the crackle better if my brush strokes are a little bit more haphazard. We'll see. The directions say to make sure it's extra dry before you apply the second coat. So while it was pretty dry, I took it into the kitchen with this twine and asked my sweet husband to make a new handle.
Okay.
That's a knot I tied. I just tied it like around itself 3 times. Now let's find out how to tie a real knot. When we moved on to our boat, my sweet husband, the first day, he comes in. I'm working in the salon doing something, and he comes in and he's like, "Honey, I think I was made for this." He had just tied like 20 something knots outside. Okay, what you doing?
I think this
Oh.
is a figure 8 knot.
Okay, that's cool. Okay. Has to be thick enough, big enough of a knot that it won't go back through. Hey, I didn't know about that. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? Won't go back through? Oh. Oh. Show off. Okay, we're going to try again.
Now I've got a mess.
I also ask him to untie knots when I make knots. They're hard to untie. You just going to do another one of those around itself? Okay. A figure 8? No. Oh, it is a
Just a
figure 8.
regular knot,
Oh, over it.
which incorporates that original knot.
Yeah.
It's about the same size as the other one.
Oh, nice. That's a prettier handle. Thank
You
you.
tie it again.
If you think it needs it, maybe you should tie mine again too.
No, yours is good. Yours is superior.
Yeah, okay. Tell them what you tell me when I have to, like when I have a load of stuff on the truck and you're not with me to tie it down.
If you can't tie a knot, tie a lot.
That's right. And I'm good at that.
There, that's a big old hefty thing.
Now that's a knot. Thank you. Thank you so
Is it
much.
not?
Is it not? He says. Oh, that's cute. Now I'm back in the living room and I'm adding part 2 of my Crackle medium. And guess what happened? I dropped the jar with the lid off. So I had fortunately just swept the living room, and because sometimes I do pick up my mess. There you go. And I just reached down with my paintbrush and got it off the floor and put it on there. I I could tell you something else, but then you guys are going to think I'm perfect. And I was going to say nobody wants to watch somebody perfect, but I know that's not true because I watch some people who appear to be perfect and they have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So I, I'm just not them. I'm maybe more like some of you. Whenever you use a Crackle medium, you need to use a contrasting finish on it. So, like if you have a light piece, you want to put some dark wax, or if you have a dark piece, you want to put some white wax. And I decided to try Debbie's DIY copper patina called Pennies from Heaven. I'm applying it with a barely damp towel. I didn't want it to be too concentrated because I've never done this before and I don't know what it's going to look like. And I don't want to cover up Persephone. You know how sometimes I forget to film something or I turn my camera off instead of on and you don't get to see all of it? Well, you don't get to see all of this either. And it's not because I forgot to film it. It's because when I was filming, I had that wine box all over the place and I didn't really keep track of keeping it right under the camera. So I made this horrific discovery while I'm editing. I have old lady knees and they're very plump old lady knees. And I know what y'all are saying. You're like, oh, Heather, no, don't even worry about it. It's no big deal. I know I would probably think the same thing if I was watching your old lady plump knees. Here's the thing. I've showed you my gobbly wobbly neck. I have showed you my dark circles under my eyes, where even in high school, a girl asked me, did you get in a fight? And I said, no, why? And she said, because you have 2 black eyes at the same time. I've showed you my square face, and I think I've accidentally showed you my sponge butt. I mean, if I was a cartoon character, I would be called Square Face Sponge Butt. But I've accepted all those things. I mean, I see them whenever I look in the mirror. I mean, I do. I check out my butt when I'm getting dressed and I see if my clothes look okay and that thing is covered up. But this is not an angle of myself I've ever seen before. I've never had to have a reason to film my knees from above. And I am not ready to show that to the world yet. Now, maybe someday when I'm a big YouTube star, I'll get past that. And you're probably thinking, yeah, because you'll be rich and you can buy some diet drugs. No, it's because I'll be rich and I won't care. So thank you very much for your encouragement. It's still not something I'm ready to accept. All right, so moving on. Did you see me use my scissors to scrape the sides of the box? Well, I wanted to get down to the wood so I could put the patina on the wood. I tried doing it without scraping the sides first to get that paint off of there, and it just didn't show up enough. There are some places where I missed a few drips. I believe that was from part 2 of my Crackle medium. And when I was completely finished, I realized I probably put Persephone on the back and not the front. So I probably won't be selling this because there are so many mistakes I couldn't fix. Although I think somebody would still buy it because it's still really pretty. But I need something to put some of my hair stuff in. So I'm good with keeping it. Project number 5. When I first started doing crafting projects that I saw on YouTube, the most intimidating ones always involved drilling holes through things like glass and porcelain. Now that we've tried it several times, it's one of the easiest projects we do. In fact, I like to put an easy project in every video, and today this is the easy project. The key is having good diamond drill bits. We bought these at Harbor Freight. After that, we discovered there are a plethora of choices on Amazon. I'll leave you a link for those because I think it's a better deal, and they have really high reviews. If you buy something from Amazon by using my link to get there, they will give me a small compensation but won't raise your price. That doesn't mean you have to buy what I sent you there for. You can go and look around, find what color you want, size you want, the best reviews, look around, get what you want. So the glass won't crack or shatter, you need to keep it cool. To do that, you can either drill under running water or you can use oil, which is what we use today. We just used some cooking oil. It smelled a little like shrimp, but that was okay. Just make this our shrimp dish. My sweet husband discovered to start the hole, he held the drill at an angle, and that just got one little side started. Make sure that's not right in the center though. Put it a little bit off center, just half the width of your drill bit. Then he very slowly, with firm pressure, but not too much pressure so you'll break the glass, pressed straight down on the drill while it went through the glass. And every once in a while, he stopped and pushed some of the oil into the hole to keep it cool. He wanted to show you this part where he held it up and you can see through it, but the hole hasn't gone all the way through. He said if he was working on something other than glass or porcelain, like wood, he would drill through from the other side, and that way it wouldn't have a bunch of splinters. But you don't get that option with this. It's really hard to match up that hole. And plus, I mean, it would probably crack even if you were just a little bit off. He did hold this up at the end and rub his finger around the opening, and he said it was super smooth. He didn't think it would cut anybody, and it was safe. Even if it was a little scratchily, though, it's okay because these pieces that I found on Amazon to make a cake plate have these little washers that are made out of rubber, I think, or plastic. I don't know what they are. I think they're rubber. So you put the little screw into a metal washer, and then you add one of the rubber washers and put it up through the bottom of your biggest plate. Then you put the first cake plate riser or stem on that and screw it in. And you do it pretty snug, but not too tight. You don't want to break it. Then you put the top of that, which is another screw or bolt, through your next object. And oh, wait, first you put one of the rubber pieces on, then put your next object over that, then add a rubber piece. Then you can add the top thing with the hook or the handle. I have not found any of these online that are for 2 layers. I've only found them for 3, so we just omitted one of the layers. I will leave you a link to the ones that I bought, but I'm telling you, there are so many others out there. The prices are still kind of high, but the amount I could have gotten for these plates combined was probably about $10, and I think I can get over 20 for this. So if I have to pay $1.80 for each of the hardware sets, I'm totally okay with that. By the way, I did check and make sure these weren't rare plates before I put holes in them. With the other plates we've done, the bottom had a bigger rim around where it sits on the table, so the screw didn't go down further than that. But this one, the screw was bigger than, I don't know how to describe that, the part of the plate that sits on the table. So we went to Harbor Freight and found these felt pads, and I just cut some of the big square up and put 3 pieces on, and that worked. It worked for more than one reason. It also will make it so that whatever surface I put this on won't be scratched. Every booth owner I know that sells vintage things always has extra dishes that they can't move. This is a great way to take those items and turn them into beautiful home decor that any customer would love to purchase to have in their own home. I want to thank everyone who's been here before for coming back again, and I want to welcome those of you who are new. I hope that you'll check out my comment section and see how awesome our subs are. Maybe you'll consider becoming one of them. We have our website up and running, and we're constantly adding new things to it, so we hope you'll check that out at spindlemountainmercantile.com. We have a lot of projects finished we're making tutorials on. You can even see some in this picture I'm showing you right now. So get ready for more videos. Until then, we hope you have a wonderful week. And as always, we hope you are blessed. Bye.